All right. So the other side of the show, the notable stories. I have a bunch I want to talk about. Before
it never ends, right? Like these stories it never ends.
Do you have any that you want to just bring up before we dive deep into the ones that I have? Anything that just comes to mind that you want to that's just fucking pissing you off?
Yeah. Because like you said at the beginning, and again, if you're just tuning into the second half of this conversation, go and listen to the first. But as I said earlier in the conversation here with Len, like I'm on vacation out in Nova Scotia, and I like the outdoors. I like hiking and stuff, and I'm not allowed to go hiking because it's really dry outside. But yet there's a golf course not that far from here where these guys are smoking cigars, drinking beers, and nobody seems to care. But I'm not allowed to walk in the woods. Like it just boggles my mind. Wait,
hold on. I gotta ask a question though.
Yeah.
And I like to think I play golf a lot. Maybe I do. I don't play golf well. What I like to do, this is fucking ridiculous, but for whatever reason, I like to hunt lost balls. I have no fucking reason.
Yeah.
There's something therapeutic from that. Even if you're having a shitty game, I could go look for balls, and you know what? I'm at one with myself. I love doing that. I have buckets of balls I found.
Len, when I was a kid, like starting when I was like 14, 15 years old, all the way up to when I was finished university, I ran a used golf ball business where I went swimming in water hazards.
Yeah.
And sold the balls. I guess it's been long enough now that CRA are probably not listening, and if they are,
allegedly,
I don't think it's. I don't know what the rules are with that, but like I did really well with this.
Yeah, and you know the funny thing is, I give away all the good ones. Like when I come with like the Pro V1s, TP5, I just give them away. I just don't want them. I give it to better golfers, and they can hack away with it. But what I'm trying to get at is, for me to find these balls, I a lot of times have to go in the woods. Right? Are golfers permitted to do that?
I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know.
So for people who are just unaware what the fuck's going on, in the province of Nova Scotia and New Brunswick right now, you can't, because of the extreme heat, they're calling it, and dry conditions, you're at risk for causing wildfires by going into the woods. So there's a ban in effect that right now you can't do open fires, period. That's $25,000 if you do open fire. Beyond that, if you go into the fucking woods for hiking, doing camping, doing that, boom, another $25K for that. Some guy was a former Canadian military dude. I wish I remembered his name. He filmed his experience, went in the woods, just walked right in, and came out and then was ticketed $25K. Plus, there was a service charge on top of that.
A like victim's fee of $8K.
Victim's fee. That's
victim's fee.
Love it. Love it. So, so that's what we're at. Like a few years ago, we had to social distance. Now you have to distance yourself from the fucking trees.
And I get it. It is really dry. Okay, I get it. That side of it. It's really dry. You can tell that it's really dry. What bothers me the most is the gray area of everything and how none of it seems to make sense. Okay, no open fires, no fireworks. Okay, I can wrap my brain around that. Like, certainly a libertarian could make the argument that, like, I'll do whatever I want, and I could see that side of the story. But as a citizen, I'd be like, okay, like, it's really dry outside. I'm not going to have a campfire. I can wrap my brain around that. It's like, okay, maybe I'm not going to smoke cigars outside, or I'm not going to do anything with fire. You know, I can get there. But, and Len, I've seen this with my own two eyes. There were two paths that both lead to exactly the same place. Not that far from here. I saw it with my own two eyes. They both go to a beach. Right? And there is a few trees here and there, but it's not, I wouldn't call it like a forest. One of the paths was open, and the other path, which goes to the same fucking place, just a little bit more of a loop, a sign across it saying "Do not enter" because of provincial forest mandate, whatever. They go to the same place. They're almost right next to each other. One of them is open. One of them is not. It doesn't make sense. Golf courses are still open. Bullshit. It doesn't make sense. Like,
it's fucking bullshit.
It's wild.
Right? And on top of that, it's public and private. So you could own your own fucking plot of land that has fucking a forested area. You own the fucking area. You can't go inside your own area. Like, how? And you subjected to 25. They somehow find out that you got in there. The fuck is that?
The only thing that I can think of that kind of makes sense is that, and it does make sense from what I know about the financial situation of a lot of the Atlantic provinces. There's just not a lot of resources here. So if one fire were to break out, they could probably manage it. But if more than one fire broke out, they literally don't have the money.
So all it really is, you need a half dozen wackos go out there and decide, you know what, I want to make this into a deal. And it's virtually impossible to stop. And if you really wanted to, you know what, I don't.
It's not the hiker that's going. I don't want to. Now, Len, like you, I've golfed a little bit in my day. I've also done quite a bit of hiking. I know the type of people who like to go play golf, generally, and I know the type of people who like to go hiking, generally. One of these groups is much more likely to be drinking and smoking outdoors than the other. Yeah. And it's not the hikers.
Yeah.
But somehow 100%. They're the ones that are not allowed to do what they want to do. But the golfers,
in the middle of summer where things are the most beautiful, the greenery, the nature, animals, and you can't fucking witness it. It reminds me of what happened just a few short years ago. It seemed like forever, but it wasn't. It was not forever ago. And I remember clear as day when they said, "Oh, you got to social distance, no groups," and then our premier goes up to the fucking cottage. Ontario premier, I'm saying. Sorry, I know you don't live in Ontario, right? Like, it's bullshit. It's these stories about rules, they apply, but not for everybody, right? It's kind of like the Bloomberg today was talking about people need to take. I'm going into a tangent here. Michael Bloomberg was saying people need to take public transit as a way to try to protect the planet. The guy owns 2 or 3 airplanes, several helicopters, countless fucking cars, and he's telling us that we have to take public transit. This guy is fucking flying from place to place for photo ops and meeting his friends. Like, really? Like, I have to fucking drive to go to work. You're fucking flying for fucking pleasure. Like, which of the two is a necessity, right? And who's the fucking problem here? And I can assure you, I'm not the fucking problem. But yet, somehow you're painting a picture that I am. And it's very similar to this. You want to go for a fucking walk in the woods. You want to go enjoy the beautiful summer that exists. It's a very short season, but in the East Coast. And you want to go and enjoy it, you can't. It's fucking bullshit. I look at this and I go back to the GTFO movement, and it's picking up, and it's not because of me. Like, I have no fucking, I'm seeing that there are people of means that are just doing it. They've had enough. Yeah. They just, and they're picking up their bags. They're going somewhere else, at a place where they could potentially live out the remainder of their life, or at least a period of their life, and then they can move somewhere else. This is fucking brutal. When you do this, when you're forcing people to do that, it's a brain drain. Then you're taking their wealth with them, and then the taxation dollars that's possible. And whatever, we'll replace them. Don't worry. We have tons of people that are going to replace them, but they're not going to be able to produce at the same level that these people can. And you know what? More bullshit like this. This is what we need. More fucking bullshit like this.
And Len, just talking to people around here, people aren't that upset. That's what bothers.
I fucking believe that.
People are not that upset. They're very concerned about wildfires. They're very concerned about this and that. And then you start talking to them, and it's like, well, what about the golfers? Why aren't you upset that you can't do anything you want, but the foursome of golfers from Ontario that just rolled in, they're allowed? And then their face kind of glazes over, and they just can't process.
Do you remember back in the social distancing days? And they were telling us that we couldn't play golf. Like of all the things, now I know it's kind
fishing. Going fishing. You weren't even
you're
allowed to go
in the middle
fishing.
of nowhere.
Yeah,
you're fucking fishing.
Yeah, like the trout are going to give you COVID.
Yeah, like fuck. It just this heavy-handed approach, and you know what? The people that impacted the most are the people that were living in confined areas like apartments and condos and stuff like that, where they didn't have a backyard which they could go and do stuff. You're confined. Those are the ones, and especially with those with families, like how fucked up of a situation is now. We can't go to fucking into the woods. I want to see what transpires. It's fucking bullshit. I want to see what transpires from this guy that got fined at 28K.
Did you watch the video?
Yeah, in totality, it was like 5 minutes or something like that. 7 minutes.
It's a little weird. He seems like a good guy. Like, mad respect to the guy. He's a veteran. He's served overseas. Like, he's done a couple of terms. I got nothing but respect for this guy. But he did seem to be kind of looking for trouble.
No, he was
perfectly respectful. Yes, he was. But he even did say to the officers, like, it's like, yeah, I'm not going after you. I want to get a fine. Please fine me so that I can go after the premier.
He wants to test the legality of it.
Like he couldn't test the legality of it unless he got fined.
Correct.
So he went out purposely to get fined.
Yeah. And he did it in a way that didn't interrupt anybody. He didn't cause a sting.
Yeah.
He talked to the people and said, I'm not going to put you on camera.
Yeah.
I'm going to get fined.
He was perfectly polite.
Yeah. They made him wait a while to get the fucking ticket, by the way. But other than that,
can you imagine those like federal government workers in that office, like sitting around, like probably playing Mario Kart, and then when this guy rolls in, and they're like, "What do we do now? Like, we actually have to work? Like, must have been a strange conversation behind the scenes for them."
Well, things you can see are not getting better over there. And you know what? On a national level, things aren't getting any better either, because Canada has reported that they lost over 40,000 jobs in the month of July. And this was a terrible blow to the estimates. Nobody was expecting this. All the economists out there that, these Keynesians, they were all expecting numbers to be far better. And on top of this 40,000 job loss comes also with the public sector grew by 4,000 jobs in that same time period. So that grew, but the other ones lost a significant amount. Then it was 44K jobs that were lost in the private sector altogether. I look at that and I'm not sure. Is this a response to the tariffs? Is this just a global economy slowing down and Canada's getting caught up in it? I don't know what the fuck's happening here. But
I don't know. The tariff stuff seems a little bit overblown. I'm not going to say that there aren't people affected by the Trump tariffs. There clearly are. Their businesses being affected, absolutely. But these tariffs only apply to products that are not compliant to the Canadian, U.S., Mexico free trade agreement. And from my understanding, something like 92 to 95% of goods that cross the border fall into this category. So only a small portion of goods that are being exported to the United States are actually facing these tariffs.
What about lumber or aluminum or steel?
Yeah, aluminum. Well, there's one of them. Aluminum definitely is facing tariffs for sure. But you kind of play this out. Like, okay, so if there's less aluminum or lumber, let's use aluminum as the example. There's less aluminum being exported to the United States. Well, all that kind of means is that there's more aluminum available to Canadians who need to buy aluminum. So all these different types of, construction types of businesses or different types of manufacturing facilities that aluminum is an input for them, they're now getting a discount on their aluminum because all the Canadian aluminum producers have excess supply. So it's not...
That supply is going to last for so long. I would imagine, I don't know the economics of this, but I assume that discount would mean that if they continue to offer that discount, they would then be in a cash flow negative situation. So I assume that they're selling off whatever stockpile they have, whatever inventory they have of aluminum, but anything that is going to be new that they're going to be able to produce, it's not going to happen because there's just no economic incentive to do so.
I'm not sure, and it's not that simple, right? It for sure, it's bad for producers of aluminum, for sure. Not going to,
and it's not like Canada's an aluminum country that the economy revolves around fucking aluminum. It doesn't.
I mean,
but it's a part of it.
It's a part of it, and especially in Quebec, it's a significant industry in Quebec. And I'm not making light of the people who work in that industry at all. I'm not saying that their jobs don't matter. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is there's aluminum consumers in Canada that are now getting aluminum at a cheaper price. So they now can produce more, in theory, of whatever they make out of aluminum. And maybe they can hire extra people because their input costs have now declined. So anytime you see on the news, like, oh, tariff this, tariff that, tariff this, tariff that, it's not simple. It's extremely complicated.
100%.
Now, so about the tariffs, I don't know. I highly doubt it's 40,000 jobs are related to caused by 40,000 job losses by the tariffs. That would surprise me. These estimations, they're bad. Like these analyst expectations on these jobs, like these.
Oh, they're throwing fucking darts in a wall.
They're throwing darts. You guys have talked about it numerous times. You guys are actually one of the first podcasts out there. Like I don't just listen to Bitcoin podcast, Len. I listen to like regular finance podcasts, and you guys were very, very early on these, like noticing about like all these data points that just didn't make sense, and the revisions. Well, you guys were early talking about these upward and downward revisions.
Yeah, Joey's talked about the Department of Downward Revisions.
Yeah. You guys were extremely early on this, and you fucking nailed it. Like you absolutely nailed it on this. And they always tend to be skewed. I can't say always. There's definitely a skew to these revisions and to these numbers. It doesn't seem to be random.
It's not like they found a bunch of new ones. It's like, oh, we overstated, and it's even worse than it really is. And if that's the case with this one, if they follow the trend, if they revise this number, say, oh, you know what, 40K wasn't the exact number, it's actually 65K. It's like, what the fuck? And somebody in one of our chats said this number is significant because if this was the United States, if it translated to the United States, because of the factor of the people working in the workforce and the population, I think it's like a 10x, right? Like it's a $400,000 job loss if it was similarly predicted in the United States or reported. So that would have fucking tanked markets. Looking at this, and on top of this too, you have this report. Our prime minister is apparently on vacation. I'm not sure if you saw that. This week he's on hiatus, so he's doing some R&R because it's been a tough few weeks.
Did they have that trade deal with the U.S. yet? That like I'm on vacation, so I'm not really watching much of the news. Like, did we get that deal signed?
It's coming.
It's coming.
Yeah. It's when I can't say, but it's coming. And you know that Mark Carney, remember he took the position of what's that guy's name that they kicked out from running? I forget. Whatever the fuck is it?
Dahlia. That's Ruby Dahlia. What was the other guy?
It was the guy. So what was his fuck? Where the fuck he was?
You gotta get him on the show. He'll come on the show. What's he up to?
I can't even remember his fucking name. I don't think he's gonna want to come on. Anyways, Carney doesn't even have a constituency office in the riding of Nepean. Nepean is where he ran, right? I think it is. Either way, he doesn't have an office there. That's incredible.
You seeing like the approval ratings are pretty high though. You see those? I did see that popped up on my Twitter feed yesterday or today.
What does the people that he represents, how do they want to get any sort of help? I mean, do they have to just deal primarily or in totality with call-ins and emails? And they, if they have to go in and sign some documents, they have to go to the Hill office and do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. I mean, I can go either way on this. Like, do you really need constituency offices if you're in the Ottawa area?
I can't say.
If you can just go to Parliament Hill and I don't know if this exists or not. I'm not dialed into the political stuff at all. But if there's a place where you can go in somewhere in downtown Ottawa that you could do the same things that you could do in a constituency office, does it really matter? Like downtown Ottawa is basically borders Nepean anyway. Or if you could go to a different office. If you can go to a constituent in the neighboring office, does every MP need a constituency office?
Good question. I don't know. I'm because I'm in the GTA. My vantage point is different than yours. So,
but these 40,000 jobs, then going back to that, it's not good. That is a bad number. That's an ugly number, and it's really telling that the estimates were off by so much. That's concerning to me.
Another one that could be concerning. This is from Juno News, and they did a access to information, and through that access to information, they learned that two-thirds of immigrants, including permanent residents, they were not making the minimum monthly payments on some loans. There were immigration loans that were handed out to the tune of $150 million. And the interesting thing about these loans is there's a zero interest on it. So it's just basically pay back what you collected from them or borrowed. And only 36% of recipients are making the minimum monthly payments as of March 31st, 2023. So that's 2 years ago and change. And we just, in the last story, we talked about the number of job losses. So that's transpired in the month of July of this year. So the economy clearly isn't trending in the right direction. I suspect that 36% that we're paying back in March of 2023, the number is probably lower, right? And for people wondering,
if you have debts outstanding and you have bills to pay, don't you think that the loan at 0% interest goes very low on your list of priorities of which one to pay back?
Well said, 100%. And for people wondering what the heck are these dollars, why are they handed out? Immigration, Refugee, and Citizenship Canada, they provide loans to some immigrants to help with travel and settlement costs. So that's part of the loans that are handed out to people. So that's, you're going to at least grasp why some of the loans are handed out. But you're 100% right. In terms of like, which one would you want to pay off the most? Well, generally the highest percentage ones, like credit card bills, shit like that. Maybe fucking payday loans or same-day loans, whatever the fuck they're called, that have predatory... they're like loan sharks. So that's what people would like to pay off first because they're the most crippling. And you're right, the one that has carry 0% interest rates, fuck that. That's back burner. We don't have to fucking pay that. Like,
do you think we're going to be able to get loans at 0% if we move to Alberta?
Do you think that Alberta is going to go through the process of separating? I
think there's going to be stuff. I don't know if it's ever going to come to fruition. I don't think it. I don't know. I mean, you guys had Dave Bradley on a couple of times. I don't know if you've had him on that recently because, I mean, Dave seems to be of the mind that it's going to go. I think there's going to be a lot of concessions. I think Ottawa is going to cave into a lot of Alberta's requests, and they're going to get a lot of the stuff they want. I think equalization payments are going to change. I think we're going to have a lot more provincial autonomy going forward. I think it's going to be a good thing.
Well, there's something going around to collect signatures, and if enough signatures are collected, then it could potentially go to a vote in Alberta. I have somebody that has boots on the ground over there. I don't want to name names, but he suspects that the percentage of people that want to leave Canada over there are probably around the 40% range. That's what he's thinking. So it's below majority. And John is saying, Doomberg is saying the Alberta stuff is just a game of chicken that is going to lead to make Ottawa bend the knee. All the equalization payments that are being sent out by Alberta to other provinces, it's got to be just pissing them off, you know?
Yeah, and it's not just about the payments. It's about getting their own police force. I think that's something that's going to happen.
Do they not have one, like a provincially?
Nope, they don't have. It's only Ontario and Quebec that have an Ontario police force.
And why doesn't Alberta have their own provincial police force? Is it because of legislation, or they just chose not to do it?
I just think they chose not to do it. But I think this type of thing is going to push towards that. Their own version of CRA. That's another thing they're going to want to do is their own CRA.
Right, remember they were talking about doing their own
tax collection. CPP. Yeah, CPP pension. That's happening. That's going to happen. That all that has to happen before Alberta separates. Basically, if you were Alberta, if you were like Dave Bradley and those guys who are actually pushing for separation, wouldn't you start off? You'd take a look at what's going on in Quebec, and you would ask for exactly the same thing they have plus other stuff, right? That would be like the starting point. Before you even talk about separation, you'd be like, yeah, I want my own pension. I don't want to be sending our tax dollars for Canadian pensions.
They control immigration in Quebec too.
Yeah, all of it. Wouldn't you want it? Well, how controlled is it? I'm not sure.
I think they got way more input than say other provinces.
Yeah, I think these are all things that Alberta are going to push for these things before they ever separate. It's going to take a long time, unless something strange happens. And at the end of the day, if the United States says no, you're not separating, or yes, you're separating, that's what's going to happen. Right.
And John makes a good point. He's saying Alberta is talking about taking back their share of the federal pension plan, essentially bankrupt the CBP. The CBP is doing, they're building out a new office in downtown Toronto. So I don't know the cost, but it was extraordinarily high. So good for them. And he's saying, John, in Quebec, they accept 50,000 immigrants of the 500,000 that comes to Canada. So that's 1/10. Is that are they 1/10 the population in Quebec? They
not
have
that far off. Isn't it 7 million in Quebec and there's 40 million people? So the math on that is more than a tenth, but it's not 20%.
Yeah. It's still kind of skewed in favor of them.
It's definitely skewed. But is anybody really checking those numbers? Like, how are those numbers checked?
He's saying Canada is 25% of the population.
Is that high? 7? Isn't it just 7%? 7 million people?
I have no idea. Their population probably increased due to immigration as well in the past little while. I have no fucking clue. All I know is 40 million, 40 something, 41 million.
Yeah, 41 million.
I remember the days when it was like 27 million.
But how do they know that only 50,000 are in Quebec? Like you can move pretty freely in Canada.
Yeah, that's one of the things. Right? Part of the Charter and Rights that you have the ability to move wherever the fuck you want. Right?
Yeah.
Like, so if I want to move to Saskatchewan, nobody's going to stop me to move to Saskatchewan.
So if you're a landed immigrant, you land in Quebec City, and you realize that you don't like speaking French and you don't want to be around French people, you just load up your car and you move to the GTA and you find a place in Oakville, right?
Yeah.
What's stopping anyone?
Yeah, 100%.
So I'm not questioning John's number in the chat here. Like, I'm sure that's correct. Sounds about right. I just don't know how you enforce that at all, and I don't think those numbers really mean that much.
Do you remember
only 500K come to? Yeah, I guess that's 500K is about right.
So the way I recall, when they had the FLQ crisis back in the 70s, and there was talk of potential separation back then, Montreal was the most populated city in Canada at that time. I don't think Toronto was number one. I think Montreal, but I know a lot of businesses were set up in Montreal. A lot of them moved from Montreal to Toronto because they didn't know what's going to happen moving forward. So now, because of that too, I'm wondering what's going to happen. Oh, did we lose you, Boomer?
I'm still here. Did I lose the? Maybe you just lost my camera.
It's okay.
Let me try to fix this.
So I'm wondering if the same thing is going to happen in Alberta. If there's going to be some businesses that are going to pick up and move from Alberta to go somewhere else, just because of the potential stability that comes along with staying in Canada.
Or the other way around. Companies are going to move to Alberta because they don't want to deal with some of the things that we've talked about today, and that you and Joey talk about week in and week out.
Yeah, that's another point.
It seems like it's slightly less crazy out there. Maybe. Yeah. I don't think it's a lot better, but it's maybe a little bit better.
Well, let's talk about, I guess, one or two more stories and this bullshit coming up from the Fed. Everybody, I think, have seen this, where they might consider revaluing the gold reserves they have to market prices. And the question as to why they would do this could potentially use to buy something, maybe Bitcoin, but I won't go into that. Let's talk about the gold revaluation, because that's a lot of potential wealth that could be unlocked, right? And funding for shit, maybe funding the Z-Man or the Middle East war, like, shit like that. Those wall watchers, they got to keep happy. So this could potentially give them a whole new set of cash. The U.S. apparently holds 261 million troy ounces of gold. That's valued right now at $42 per ounce. That was set in 1973. The price of gold has changed significantly since 1973. The price of everything has changed since 1973. But either way, they have a book value of around $11 billion based off their number fudging. And if they change it to market price around $3,400 per ounce, that brings them to around $750 billion worth of gold that they're sitting on, if they have the gold, in fact. I think they do.
And what does that do to the U.S.'s $37 trillion in debt?
Zero.
Not very much.
It just gives you a sense of the size, the scale of the debt, the federal debt, the funded debt at that. The unfunded is even higher. It just goes to show you, with all that fucking gold they have, they're potentially sitting on. I think they have it. It's just a drop in the bucket, considering how much fucking.
If they increase the price of gold, but through accounting, it's nothing more than just accounting. If they multiply it by 100, which is roughly what it is, right? From $42 to
I'll give you that. Okay,
so it's like you add a couple of zeros, right?
Yeah,
so you're adding 2 zeros. By adding 2 zeros to all the gold in Fort Knox, you are barely scratching the surface of the debt, the U.S. debt.
Yeah,
it's kind of ridiculous. This gold reevaluation stuff. It kind of reminds me of like a couple of years ago when they were going to print that $1 trillion coin. Remember that?
Yeah.
Like they were just going to take like palladium or whatever, just like some. It's just pure fiat wizardry. Like it doesn't mean anything. Like it's just ridiculous. It's the same fucking gold. The gold that was in Fort Knox yesterday is the same Fort Knox that's going to be there after you revalue it. You put a couple of extra fucking zeros on a ledger somewhere. The gold has not changed. Nothing has changed. It's just like making a coin. You can print a coin and put all the 1 0 0 0 as many zeros as you want and call it whatever you want. It doesn't mean anything. Like real wealth, the wealth of nations, has nothing to do with this. Like it's the stuff you make. Right? It's the stuff you have. It's the stuff you do, your goods and services in your economy. Accounting doesn't do anything to this. And even at that, it's from $42 to $3,400, and it goes. What's the number again? It would take it to like
from 11 billion to 750 billion.
750 billion. So 750 billion divided by 37 trillion. It's like what? Like 1%? About 1%, right?
It just goes to show you how big the debt is.
Yeah, it takes the debt down by 1%.
Yeah. And beyond that,
it's so ridiculous.
Theoretically, if they were to unlock this gold and they were to somehow bring it to market, the price of the gold per ounce is going to tank. Just because
probably.
Flooding it with so
well, they're not going to take it to market. They don't want to
borrow against it or something.
Yeah, they're going to borrow against it. That's what they're. That's it. Like you just said it. They're going to borrow against it. It's recollateralizing it, right? So they'll borrow against it at 100x, 10x, whatever. I don't know. Like it's recollateralizing. They're not going to sell any of this stuff. And do we even know it's there? I remember making a meme about like 18 months ago. From like the old DX, DX from WWF version. And I made this meme about like, it was you and Joey and Mark Jekovic and the guys in the chat. We were like the DX crew from WWE back in 1999 on the Jeep. And we were going to go. We were all going to go to Fort Knox. We were all going to go to Fort Knox, just like Triple H and the rest of the boys did when he went to WCW to try to get in. And we're going to go audit. We're going to go audit Fort Knox. Is it even there?
That's another promise. Remember, 47 was saying that you. What the fuck's going on? We there's no fucking auditing going on. We have, and I'll say it again. I've said it twice. I just want to say I do believe they have the gold. Like, and I'm gonna almost quote Joey. He says maybe not to the exact ounce, but they did. They probably have just about all the gold they have. Like, yeah.
Well, I think the U.S. is more off. I think the U.S. is more likely to have the gold that they say they have than England is. I do. Did you ever see the wait times for like people trying to get gold out of London?
I'll be honest, I don't follow the gold market crazy. That close, so I don't know. So now, at the time when there's a huge amount of gold being taken out of the London gold market, the wait times are now going up astronomically.
You've never had Tom Jekovic, not Jekovic, Tom Rodrovics on your show. He's Canadian. He hosts like the best gold podcast in the world, I think, like Palisades Gold Radio. So
I used to be a gold guy. I don't give a fuck about it.
Yeah, Tom's great. The Canadian guy, like I wouldn't call him a Bitcoiner, but he does get Bitcoin a little bit. Like he's a gold guy. He's not like a completely against Bitcoin. He'd totally be on he'd totally do your show. He seems like a great guy too. No, like he follows this stuff all the time. And he said like the wait times to get physical delivery from gold out of London went from a couple of days to a couple of weeks to a couple of months. Like it's getting harder and harder to get your gold back. And a few years ago, 10, 15 years ago, whatever it was, when you deposit your own gold, you want your own gold back, right?
Yeah.
Where you apply to get your own gold back. You used to get the same brick.
Yeah.
Like now you're not getting the same bricks.
Oh, so you sign it, you send it in, somebody else's signature. So what the fuck? This is bar.
You're getting your bars, you're getting the weight back of your gold, but you're not getting the exact brick. That's suspicious.
And that they're talking about, I'm not even sure if they put up tariffs. These gold bars coming out of 39%. It's another thing why I like Bitcoin. How the fuck are you going to tariff Bitcoin? Right? You just can't do it. But gold, they could certainly do it. And it's another nail in a coffin for why anybody would, for me with gold. Like there's just no reason to consider it as a store of value. That just makes no sense, because in actually holding on to it, it's bullshit. It becomes a burden. And then sending it over space it's a burden. And then verifying it's gold, it's a fucking burden. Like fuck that. Bitcoin solves all the problems. So you get your 15-year-old laptop like I am. I could verify Bitcoin. I could send Bitcoin with that. I could broadcast a transaction with modest hardware. But
gold's time has passed.
Yeah, for sure.
It did its like. Let's give gold its respect though. Like it did work for a while until it didn't. And it's been a while now since it hasn't worked. And we've had this dark age between gold failing, probably around World War I. Some people say 1971, might even be a little bit before, maybe 1913 with the what happened in Jekyll Island. Maybe somewhere around there, gold failed. So we've had 100 years basically of dark ages, but now we have something better. So Bitcoin is looking forward, gold is looking backwards.
I bring up this periodically as to why I'm very down on gold is because what happened with Russia and Venezuela, each of them tried to repatriate the gold that they had in London vaults, and they were told, no, you can't get access to it because of what you've done on an international level. And as a result, not your vault, not your gold. Right?
Not the first time either.
Right.
There are plenty. Right. There are countless examples of gold falling into the wrong hands.
Imagine they just simply had Bitcoin instead and had those keys themselves. You know what? They could do whatever they want with it. They want to send it to an address somebody belongs to it in Venezuela. The Russians could do that, and vice versa. They could send it from Venezuela back to Russia or whatever the fuck you.
Settlement at the same time as transactions. So I think it's Lynn Alden that wrote it in her book, right? She said that her argument is that gold failed once we developed the telegraph. So once we made the telegraph, we could create transactions over long. You could somebody in North America could make a transaction with somebody in Europe right, through telegraph. But you couldn't settle that transaction until the gold actually, was shipped from London to New York, right? So transactions became faster than settlement. Well, with Bitcoin, it's instantaneous. They both occur at the same time. So settlement and transaction occur at the same time.
Lynn Alden has a baseball bat or not?
I say no. I'm a fan.
Was it after like something was done or born like that, came out of the factory like that?
Look, I'm not going to say anything negative about Lynn Alden.
It's not just speculation.
No. You're not going to get it. Not going to get it out of me. Like no. In my honest opinion, I literally think she's like the best financial analyst on the planet.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say anything to the contrary.
I'm just curious. I just found it to be a topic that I'd like to. Well, I guess one last topic. Any thoughts on the dildos that are being tossed in the WNBA?
So what color do you think is next?
We've had
green twice or three times.
Yeah,
so we've only had purple.
We've had a purple.
We had a purple. Yeah, we had a purple.
I'm gonna go back to this tried, tested, and true green.
Green.
Yeah.
Did you see the nets that they're now?
I thought that was a fucking.
WNBA now are putting nets around the court.
I thought that was a fucking joke.
No, I think it's.
I honestly thought until I saw the fucking picture of that. It's a fucking joke.
Yeah.
Right. Like
it's the Iron Dildome. I wish that was mine. I can't take credit for that. That's just so good. That's not mine. It was like somebody on Twitter.
And it's incredible that they're doing this. How people are smuggling it in, I don't want to know, but good for them because
But you know what, Len? People are talking about the WNBA. Like if I were
in
them,
a way
if I were them, and there are players that are doing this, that are taking it with a grain of salt and are having fun with this, and the players that are doing that are being rewarded on social media with follows and retweets and all that stuff. Like it's a sport at the end of the day, and like we can sit here and talk about women's sports. Me personally, I know you're a tennis player. I prefer watching women's tennis than men's tennis.
It's so bad.
I like, at least back in the day, I don't watch a whole lot of tennis anymore, but back in the day when Serena Williams, I liked watching women's tennis more because the rallies were a little bit longer. It wasn't just big serve. Like it's not that I don't like women's sports. It's not that at all. Like I think women should be able to play whatever sports they want. I don't care. But it doesn't translate that well in basketball. WNBA is not. It's not great viewing. Not that I've watched a ton of WNBA, but it doesn't.
Have you watched more than a nanosecond? And if it's so, that's more than I have.
Yeah, I've watched more than a nanosecond, but not a whole lot more. Fuck? So you got this sport that's not doing that well, this league that's not doing that well, and there's attention on the league. Maybe not for the greatest reason, but just have fun with it. Like it's just entertainment. It's summer. There's no fucking sports going on other than baseball. Nobody gives a shit about baseball anyway. Just have fun with it.
You have this mentality. Pay us what the heck? I forget the exact thing.
Yeah, they want us what we're owed or what we deserve or whatever.
If you're not drawing, if nobody's watching, it's revenue generating stuff that you have to look at. That's what you're gonna get paid on. If nobody's buying tickets, if nobody's fucking watching it on TV and paying for the rights to broadcast it, you should be paid based off that, right? Off sponsorships, off all this shit. That's just free market. That's the way things operate, right? If nobody wants to watch, you're worth not like I could go play basketball. I could tell you there's going to be exactly 0 people watching it, and I can't go out there and say, "Please pay me for what I'm worth." I'm fucking worth nothing to play basketball, right? That's the reality of it.
But you got dozens of people that watch your podcast every Monday night, and that's why you guys make. That's why you guys make the big bucks from Easy DNS and from Bull Bitcoin. That's why. Right.
But one thing is nobody's throwing fucking dildos at us.
Not yet.
Right. Well, as soon as I leave the basement, who the fuck knows what happens? I got to fucking fend this shit off like it's snow coming from the sky. All right, Boomer. I think that's it before we get fucking demonetized here. Anyways, any last words before we sign off here?
Always great to be a part of the show. Anytime you need me, just let me know. I'll find it. as far as Twitter, find me on Twitter. The Ruler's Broken on Twitter. I was also a guest on Rock Paper Bitcoin this past week. So we talked about you guys a little bit. Nothing but good things. Talked about like you guys are just one of the best shows. Like I said it to them. I'll say the same thing to you guys. You guys, in my opinion, you're two of the three best podcasts, Bitcoin podcasts going right now.
It's the ones that have fun, I think, are the best. The ones, they're just,
and it's personality as well. You got, and you and Joey have great chemistry together. You guys you don't take things too seriously. As far as I'm concerned, you're the best podcast out there that covers the news for sure.
Number one, brother.
For sure.
Number one.
So I'm just glad to be a part of the team in any way I can possibly be.
I appreciate you're a number one fan, and you're always first under the bullpen whenever there's an opportunity. So thanks for coming on, Boomer.
Anytime.
And with that, we're done. We'll be back at this again Monday. I don't think we have a show this Wednesday. So take care, and we'll see you all next week.